The grand judgment chamber of the Galactic Council stretched impossibly high, its crystalline dome capturing the light of 7 suns. 3,000 representatives from across the known universe sat in concentric rings of hovering platforms, their murmurs creating a constant background hum, like distant thunder. At the center stood a simple metal table with 2 chairs, one occupied by Ambassador Jack Harlow, the lone human representative, his military posture betraying his former career. Opposite him, Supreme Arbiter Vauxhall, a being of translucent blue flesh and multiple eyes that shifted position across its form, leaned forward. Its voice, surprisingly melodious, carried effortlessly through the chamber. "Ambassador Harlow, you understand the gravity of today's proceedings?" Vauxhall's eyes blinked in sequence around its body. "The Galactic Council has extended unprecedented concessions. Your species' rapid advancement has been concerning to many members. These terms would grant humanity protection, resources, and a path to full membership." Harlow's gaze remained steady. "I understand completely, Supreme Arbiter. Then we shall proceed with the formal—" "That won't be necessary," Harlow interrupted, causing a ripple of shocked whispers through the chamber. "Earth has reviewed your proposal and respectfully declines." The whispers became a roar. Vauxhall's eyes all widened simultaneously, its color darkening to indigo. "Perhaps there is a misunderstanding." Vauxhall's form rippled with what might have been anxiety. These negotiations took 7 standard cycles to prepare. The terms are exceptionally generous. Harlow stood, straightening his simple gray uniform. "There is no misunderstanding. Humanity appreciates the Council's offer but must decline membership under the proposed framework." From the highest tier, a reptilian delegate rose, voice hissing through amplifiers. "This is outrageous. No species has ever rejected Council protection. What game is your primitive planet playing?" "No game," Harlow replied calmly. "Simply a different perspective on our place in the galaxy." The chamber descended into chaos. Delegates from 100 worlds shouted over each other. A massive insectoid representative clicked its mandibles in what might have been laughter. 3 silicon-based beings huddled together, their crystalline bodies reflecting light in nervous patterns. Harlow turned to leave. As he reached the massive entrance archway, Vauxhall's voice cut through the noise. "Ambassador, you cannot simply walk away. The consequences," Harlow paused, turning back with an expression that silenced the chamber. "The consequences of forcing unwanted terms on humanity would be far more significant than accepting our decision, Supreme Arbiter. I suggest the Council consider why we've declined before deciding on next steps." In the silent moment that followed, delegates observed something unexpected. Ambassador Harlow wasn't afraid. And that terrified them more than any threat could have. Outside the chamber, Harlow met his aide, Lieutenant Diana Miller, who fell into step beside him. "That went exactly as expected," Harlow muttered. "Their arrogance is even worse up close." "The Council transport is waiting to return you to the Earth Embassy," Miller replied. "But Admiral Reeves wants an immediate secure briefing. The Council's military arm is already moving ships into position near our outer colonies." Harlow nodded. "Of course they are. Bullies always resort to intimidation when diplomacy fails." As they walked through the soaring corridors of the Galactic Council headquarters, alien representatives and their staff stepped aside, watching the humans with new wariness. Word of Earth's unprecedented refusal was already spreading. "Did you recover the data?" Harlow asked quietly. Miller touched her collar briefly. "Complete archive access. The quantum infiltration team transmitted everything to Earth 8 minutes ago." "Good. We'll need that leverage when the Council decides to stop posturing and start threatening." They reached a transport tube that would take them to the Earth Embassy compound on the edge of Council space. Before entering, Harlow paused, looking back at the towering Council spire with its thousands of flickering lights. "They've ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years, Lieutenant. They've forgotten what it's like to face something they don't understand. And we're going to remind them." Harlow's smile didn't reach his eyes. "Earth has been preparing for this moment since we discovered their observation posts in our system 80 years ago. Now we see if those preparations were enough." Back in the Council chamber, emergency sessions had already begun. The Senior Council, 12 representatives of the oldest spacefaring races, gathered in a private chamber beneath the main floor. Supreme Arbiter Vauxhall addressed them with undisguised concern. In 15,000 cycles, no species has ever declined council membership. The protocols for this situation are unclear. Elder Drozix, oldest of the Zenthar collective, leaned forward on gnarled limbs. There is no protocol because it was deemed impossible. The benefits of council protection are too great to refuse. Yet the humans have done just that, noted Representative Lanar, her feathered crest rippling with agitation. We must ask ourselves why. Security Director Zorax, a massive being of living stone, rumbled deeply. The answer is obvious. They have discovered something, a technology, a resource, something they believe makes them strong enough to stand alone. Impossible, dismissed Elder Drozix. Our surveillance has monitored their development carefully. They are advanced for their age, but nothing extraordinary. Voxel's form shimmered with uncertainty. Are we certain? Our deep observation posts in their system went silent 3 years ago. We assumed equipment failure and the replacement probes have provided consistent data, but what if the humans discovered the observation posts? Finished Linar. What if they've been feeding us what they want us to see? The chamber fell silent as the implications settled over them. I have ordered a comprehensive security assessment, Zorax announced. If the humans are concealing military capabilities, we will discover them. Meanwhile, I suggest we demonstrate our strength. A battle fleet near their colonies would remind them of the futility of standing against the council. Voxel's color shifted to a pale green. And if they still refuse? Then we must consider more direct intervention, Zorax replied coldly. For the security of the galaxy, Elder Drozix raised a withered hand. Before we rush to conflict, I suggest caution. In my 5,000 years, I have seen many species rise. The most dangerous were always those who saw paths others missed. Perhaps we should investigate what the humans know before we threaten what they value. Security Director Zorax's crystalline features hardened. Investigation takes time, Elder. Time during which the humans could be preparing against us. I recommend immediate action. Your recommendation is noted, Voxel replied. But for now we will pursue both approaches. Zorax, position your fleets but take no aggressive action. Meanwhile, our intelligence services will determine what Earth might have discovered that gives them such confidence. As the senior council dispersed, Voxel remained alone in the chamber, its form shifting between colors as it processed the implications. In 10,000 years of council history, the established order had never been challenged this way. The humans were either incredibly foolish or knew something the council did not. Neither possibility was comforting. At the Earth Embassy, Ambassador Harlow stood before a quantum-encrypted communication array, facing the holographic projections of Earth's Unified Defense Council. It's done, Harlow reported. The council received our refusal exactly as predicted. Their military forces are already mobilizing near our outer colonies. Admiral Reeves, a stern woman with silver hair, nodded. Defense grids are at full readiness. If they test our borders, they'll receive the demonstration we've prepared. And the council archives? Asked Director Foster, head of Earth Intelligence. Lieutenant Miller's team extracted everything. The transmission arrived safely? Complete and intact, confirmed Foster. Analysis teams are processing it now, but preliminary findings confirm our suspicions. The council has been manipulating developing species for millennia. Earth wasn't their first target, just the first to catch them at it. Harlow's expression hardened. Then we proceed as planned. The council believes they're dealing with an upstart species too naive to accept their generous protection. They have no idea what they've actually awakened. Admiral Reeves leaned forward. Remember your orders, Ambassador. Give them one chance to negotiate as equals. After that, Harlow finished. We show them why humanity declined their offer in the first place. The holographic projections flickered out, leaving Harlow alone in the secure chamber. Through the embassy window, he could see the gleaming towers of the council capital, the center of galactic civilization for 10,000 years. By this time tomorrow, that civilization would be facing its greatest crisis since its founding, and humanity would finally reveal what it had become while the council wasn't looking. The game had begun. Admiral Rachel Reeves stood before the curved viewport of Earth's orbital defense platform Sentinel-7, watching distant ships hastily departing the solar system. Behind her, the Strategic Defense Council had assembled, 12 individuals representing Earth's unified military command, their faces lit by the blue glow of holographic displays. The Galactic Council didn't take our refusal well, she remarked dryly. Long-range sensors show diplomatic vessels from 17 species have withdrawn from our system in the past 6 hours. General Marcus Okafor, his dark skin contrasting with silver-gray hair, studied the holographic display showing the retreating ships. Expected. Ambassador Harlow's report confirms they've called an emergency session. First time in 800 years, apparently. They're frightened, said Dr. Lisa Reyes, lead xenobiologist, and fear makes even advanced species behave irrationally. Good, Reeves replied. Fear was precisely what Operation Phantom Shield needed to trigger. The hologram shifted to display a complex network of nodes spreading throughout the galaxy. Several pulsed with blue light. Our Deep Cover Intelligence Network reports emergency military mobilizations in 6 Council-aligned systems, continued Reeves. They're preparing for a possible confrontation while scrambling to understand why we'd reject their generous offer. Okafor snorted. Generous. Their proposal would have given them access to all our quantum communications technology. While restricting our development of dimensional phase technology, they'd have us permanently dependent. The youngest council member, Tech Director Alex Patel, stepped forward. The quantum entanglement listening posts we secretly established in their territories confirm what we suspected. The council species have been observing us for centuries, manipulating our development pathways. The negotiation offer was their attempt to control what they couldn't contain. And now, asked Reyes. Admiral Reeves's expression hardened. Now we proceed to Phase 2. They believe we rejected their offer out of primitive arrogance or ignorance. Let them maintain that illusion while we activate our contingency measures. The display shifted again, showing a solar system with an unremarkable yellow star. We've confirmed the location of their central archives, Reeves continued. While they panic about our refusal and debate their response, we'll extract what they've been hiding from us. Director Patel's stealth reconnaissance probes are already in position. And if they decide to move against Earth directly, Okafor asked. Reeves's smile didn't reach her eyes. Then they'll discover why studying humanity from a distance led them to drastically underestimate us. Beyond the viewport, a previously invisible fleet of Earth vessels shimmered into view as they disengaged their cloaking systems. Hundreds of ships where the Council believed humans possessed only dozens. At that moment, the communication system chimed. A lieutenant's face appeared on screen. Admiral, we're receiving an encrypted transmission from Ambassador Harlow at the Earth Embassy on Council Prime. Priority Alpha. Put him through, Reeves ordered. Ambassador Harlow's hologram materialized in the center of the command center. His expression was grim. Admiral, the Council Senior Committee has just adjourned their emergency session. As expected, Security Director Zorax has dispatched the 7th Fleet to our colony on Proxima Centauri. They're claiming it's a routine exercise, but our intelligence confirms they're deploying with full weapon systems activated. Right on schedule, Reeves nodded. Lieutenant Miller's infiltration team, in position at the Central Archives. They'll begin data extraction when the Council deploys their fleet. The distraction should be sufficient to mask their digital signature. General Okafor leaned forward. The Council is testing us, Ambassador. They want to see if our refusal was bluff or genuine resolve. Then let's not disappoint them, Reeves decided. General, activate Defense Protocol Theta at Proxima Colony. Let's show them just enough of our capabilities to make them reconsider a direct confrontation. Okafor nodded and moved to a separate console, issuing commands to the waiting fleet captains. Harlow's hologram flickered slightly. Be careful, Admiral. The Council hasn't maintained galactic hegemony for 10 millennia by being careless. They'll be watching our response carefully. That's counting on it, Reeves replied. By the time they realize what we're really doing, it will be too late. After Harlow's transmission ended, Dr. Reyes approached Reeves privately. Admiral, are we certain this is the right course? Antagonizing the most powerful governmental body in the galaxy carries enormous risks. Reeves's eyes remained fixed on the viewport, where Earth's hidden fleet continued to materialize. The Council has been manipulating developing worlds for thousands of years, Doctor. They identify promising species, then subtly direct their evolution to ensure they never become true rivals. They've done it 100 times before, but not to us? Oh, they tried. Reeves tapped a command into her wrist computer, bringing up historical data on the main display. The Great Plague of 2097 that nearly wiped out our lunar colonies? Engineered by Council agents, The mysterious radiation surge that destroyed our first interstellar probe? Council intervention. They've been guiding our development for centuries, keeping us on a leash while pretending to be benevolent observers. How long have we known? Asked Rhea's, shock evident in her voice. 83 years. We captured one of their stealth observation platforms in the Kuiper Belt. Instead of revealing our discovery, Earth Central Command made the decision to play along, to let them think their manipulation was working. Meanwhile, we built this. She gestured to the fleet now fully visible outside. Hundreds of advanced warships bristling with weapons the Council didn't know humans possessed. We developed in secret, Doctor. We let them see only what we wanted them to see. And now, when they offered us protection that would lock us into permanent subordination, we finally showed our hand by declining. At the main tactical station, General Okafor straightened suddenly. Admiral! The Council's 7th Fleet has just dropped out of hyperspace near Proxima Centauri colony. 27 capital ships and support vessels. Right on time. Reeves nodded. Activate the defense grid, but keep our fleet in stealth mode. Let's see how they react to our first surprise. On the main screen, the feed from Proxima Centauri showed the imposing Council fleet taking position near the human colony world. The sleek alien vessels dwarfed the visible human defenses. They're broadcasting a message to the colony, reported the communications officer. Standard intimidation protocol, claiming they're conducting exercises and requesting the colony temporarily lower their defensive shields as a show of good faith. Predictable, Reeves said. Activate the dimensional phase disruptors. Throughout the Proxima system, previously invisible defense platforms suddenly appeared, surrounding the Council fleet. Each platform was small, perhaps the size of a shuttlecraft, but the energy readings they emitted caused the Council vessel's sensors to fluctuate wildly. On the command deck of the Council flagship, Fleet Commander Drex stared in disbelief at the suddenly appearing defense grid. Impossible, he hissed to his second-in-command. Our intelligence indicated the humans had minimal defenses in this system. These platforms weren't here 5 minutes ago. They were always there, Commander, came a calm voice from behind him. Drex whirled to see a human woman standing on his command deck, surrounded by a faint blue glow. The bridge crew reached for weapons but found themselves unable to move. Who are you? Demanded Drex. How did you get aboard my vessel? Lieutenant Diana Miller, Earth Defense Forces, the woman replied. As for how I'm here, I'm not physically. This is a quantum projection, something your intelligence reports said humans haven't mastered yet. She gestured. And the main view screen changed to show the full extent of the human defense grid. Hundreds of platforms now surrounding the Council fleet. This is a message from Earth Command. Commander Drex, your fleet has entered Earth-controlled space without permission. While we recognize this as a standard Council intimidation tactic, we want to be very clear about the consequences should you proceed further. One of the defense platforms emitted a brief pulse. Instantly, the weapon systems on 3 Council vessels went dark. That was a targeted dimensional phase disruption, Miller explained. Non-lethal, as you can see. The affected vessels can still maneuver and maintain life support, but their offensive capabilities have been neutralized. We could have done the same to your entire fleet, but Earth Command preferred a demonstration over a confrontation. Drex's scales flattened against his skull in barely controlled fury. This is an act of war against the Council! No, Commander. This is a sovereign power protecting its territory from uninvited military vessels. Your ships are free to leave Proxima space immediately. This incident need not escalate further. The projection of Lieutenant Miller began to fade. One final message, Commander. Tell Security Director Zorax that Earth knows about the Council's historical interference in our development. We know about the engineered plagues, the sabotaged missions, the manipulated technologies. When you return to Council space, suggest that he review the security protocols for the Central Archives. He might find them compromised. As her image disappeared completely, alarms blared throughout the Council flagship. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had continued for 3 straight days. Exhausted representatives argued in increasingly desperate tones while Supreme Arbiter Vauxhall struggled to maintain order. The vast chamber, designed to project calm authority, now hummed with tension and fear. The humans must be contained, shouted Delegate Murex of the Taurian Collective, his metallic exoskeleton clattering as he gesticulated wildly. Their rejection of our terms proves they have hostile intent. Or perhaps countered the elderly representative from Lyra Prime, her voice thin but penetrating. It proves our approach was flawed. Humanity expanded faster than any species in recorded history. Their adaptability suggests we should reconsider our assessment. Reconsider? Murex scoffed. They humiliated our fleet at Proxima Centauri. They deployed weapons technology we didn't know they possessed. This isn't mere defiance. It's an emerging threat to galactic stability. The chamber erupted into competing shouts and arguments. Species that had been enemies for millennia found themselves in rare agreement about the human problem, while traditional allies split over the proper response. The massive doors to the chamber suddenly slammed open. A junior council aide rushed in, protocol forgotten in his haste. He whispered urgently to Vauxhall, whose form paled to nearly white. "This session is temporarily suspended," Vauxhall announced, voice wavering uncharacteristically. "All senior security representatives report to Command Central immediately." As the chamber emptied, delegates continued their heated debates in the corridors. For the first time in thousands of years, the Council faced a species that had not only rejected their authority, but demonstrated the capability to challenge it. In the heavily fortified security center beneath the Council chambers, Vauxhall faced the grim-faced security chiefs. Security Director Zorax dominated the room, his massive stone form seeming to absorb the light. "Our central archives have been breached," Vauxhall stated flatly. "The most secure facility in the galaxy, penetrated without triggering alarms until the intrusion was complete." Security Director Zorax, his living stone body radiating heat in anger, rumbled in disbelief. "Impossible. The defensive systems are impenetrable. Triple-layered quantum encryption, phase-shifted access protocols, psychic barriers." "Nevertheless," Vauxhall continued, "unknown agents accessed and copied Archive Section Omega-7. The room fell silent. Section Omega-7 contained the Council's most classified information, including records of their centuries-long observation and occasional interference with developing species. "Preliminary. Evidence suggests human technology," added Vauxhall. "Specifically, some form of dimensional phasing we believed they had not yet developed." Zorax's crystalline features hardened. "We must strike now before they fully understand what they've obtained." The 7th Fleet's encounter at Proxima was clearly a diversion for this operation. "Too late," came a voice from the doorway. Ambassador Harlow stood there, flanked by 2 humans in simple uniforms. The guards who should have prevented his entry were nowhere to be seen. "How did you get in here?" demanded Zorax, rising to his full 4-meter height. "The same way we accessed your archives," Harlow replied calmly. "Technology you believed beyond our capabilities." Harlow approached the central table, placing a small device upon it. A holographic display appeared, showing ancient council records. "For 5 centuries, your predecessor council manipulated Earth's development," Harlow continued, "introducing diseases to slow our progress, sabotaging early space exploration attempts, steering our development away from technologies you found threatening. We suspected as much, which is why we declined your generous offer." Vauxhall's form rippled with emotion. "You couldn't possibly have known—" "But we did," interrupted one of Harlow's companions, a woman with calculating eyes. "Admiral Reeves, Earth Defense Forces. 3 years ago, we captured one of your observation craft in the Kuiper Belt. Its databases led us to questions your negotiation proposal confirmed." The stone-like Zorax lunged forward, only to freeze mid-motion, caught in some invisible field. "Don't," warned Reeves. "The dimensional phase disruptors we've deployed throughout this facility can reduce matter to its component atoms. We came to talk, not to fight." Harlow's expression remained impassive. "The Council now faces a choice. Continue treating humanity as a threat to be controlled, or acknowledge us as equals with a legitimate grievance against your past actions." Vauxhall slowly sank into a chair. "What do you want?" "A new negotiation," Harlow answered, but this time with all cards on the table. 2 hours later, the full council had reassembled in the Grand Chamber. The mood was somber, with none of the shouting that had characterized earlier sessions. Supreme Arbiter Vauxhall addressed the gathered representatives, its form now a steady, deep blue. "Evidence has been presented to the Senior Council that alters our understanding of the human situation," Vauxhall began. "Ambassador Harlow has requested the opportunity to address this body directly regarding their position." Harlow took the central position, his voice calm but carrying to every corner of the massive chamber. Distinguished representatives of the Galactic Council, for 10,000 years your organization has guided the development of the galaxy. You have prevented wars, shared technology, and created stability across thousands of worlds. These achievements deserve respect. He paused, letting the acknowledgement settle. However, we have now confirmed what Earth long suspected. The Council's policy toward developing species has not been one of benevolent observation, but of calculated control. Your archives reveal systematic interference in the development of over 47 species, including humanity. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Many delegates shifted uncomfortably while others remained deliberately still. Earth does not seek conflict with the Council, Harlow continued, but neither will we accept the role you had planned for us, that of a controlled, limited client state, perpetually dependent on your approval and technology. He activated a holographic display showing the known galaxy, with Earth highlighted as a small point of light in a spiral arm. When we declined your proposal 3 days ago, it was not out of ignorance or arrogance. It was because we understood the true nature of what was being offered. The terms you presented would have granted you access to our quantum communications technology while restricting our development of dimensional phase technology, effectively ensuring we would never become truly independent. From the upper tiers, a delegate from the Medusan Confederation rose. If you have accessed our archives, then you know why these policies exist. Unchecked technological development has led to galactic catastrophe before. The Council's guidance prevents dangerous technologies from destabilizing the order we have built. A convenient justification for maintaining your power, Reeves responded from beside Harlow. But the archives also reveal that technologies deemed too dangerous for developing species are routinely used by Council founding members. What exactly does Earth want? Asked the representative from Lyra Prime. You have made your grievances clear, but not your demands. Harlow nodded. Earth proposes a restructuring of the relationship between the Council and developing worlds. No more covert manipulation, no more technological suppression, full disclosure of historical interference and reparations for affected worlds. Stunned silence fell across the chamber. What Earth proposed would fundamentally alter the power structure that had existed for millennia. Impossible, declared Security Director Zorax. Such terms would undermine the very foundation of Council authority. Perhaps that authority needs examining, Harlow replied evenly. Earth is not alone in having discovered your interference. Our data suggests at least 3 other species are close to similar revelations. The current system is not sustainable. Supreme Arbiter Voxal, who had been silent, finally spoke. Ambassador, while your grievances may have merit, surely you recognize the danger in disrupting a system that has maintained peace for thousands of years. What you propose could lead to chaos, or it could lead to a more just and equal galaxy, countered Harlow. The choice is yours. But understand this, humanity will not accept the old paradigm. We would prefer to work with the Council to create a new relationship, but we are prepared to stand alone if necessary. Is that a threat? Rumbled Zorax. Admiral Reeves stepped forward. It's a statement of fact, Director. Earth has already demonstrated technologies you believed beyond our capability. We have deployed a network of defensive systems throughout our territory that your fleets cannot penetrate. We would strongly prefer peaceful cooperation, but we will defend our sovereignty if challenged. Before Zorax could respond, the ancient sentinel of records, Ixora, floated into the chamber. A being so old her species had long since gone extinct. Her translucent form wavered like smoke as she approached the central platform. I have verified the human claims, she announced, her voice seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere. The historical record confirms systematic interference with Earth's development, exceeding the Council's mandate for observation. The chamber erupted once more, but Ixora's presence commanded respect and the noise quickly subsided. The Galactic Council's military command center orbited the gas giant Helios 9, its massive structure bristling with defensive arrays and surrounded by the combined fleets of 27 Council species. Inside the central strategic chamber, holographic displays showed thousands of ships being mobilized across the galaxy, their movement patterns creating a hypnotic dance of light. Security Director Zorax addressed the assembled military commanders, his stone body radiating heat that made the air shimmer around him. Senior officers from dozens of species watched in grim silence as he outlined the situation facing the Council. For the first time in 10 millennia, the humans have given us an ultimatum disguised as a negotiation offer, Zorax growled, his crystalline hands manipulating the tactical display. They demand full disclosure of all Council operations involving Earth, reparations for past interference, and recognition as a sovereign power with unrestricted development rights. A murmur ran through the gathering. Admiral Thrix of the Arcturian fleet hissed through gill-like structures. Outrageous. No species holds such status. More concerning, continued Zorax, our intelligence suggests the humans have deployed what they call fail-safe measures throughout Council space. Unknown devices that could potentially target our key systems. General Krell, commander of the elite Praetorian Guard, thumped his armored fist on the table. His species' natural armor clinked with the movement. Blackmail? We cannot submit to such threats. Can we neutralize these devices? Asked Admiral Thrix. Unknown, Zorax admitted, his normally confident voice tinged with rare uncertainty. Our detection systems find nothing, yet the humans claim they've placed thousands. The technology they demonstrated at Proxima Centauri suggests their dimensional phasing capabilities exceed our current understanding. The chamber doors slid open to admit Supreme Arbiter Voxal, accompanied by the ancient sentinel of records, Ixora, a being so old her species had long since gone extinct. Before we proceed with military options, Voxal announced, its form now a steady, controlled blue, Sentinel Ixora has completed her verification of the humans' claims regarding historical Council interference. The ancient being floated forward, her translucent form wavering like smoke. When she spoke, her voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. I have examined the complete historical record, Ixora stated. The humans' accusations are accurate. Previous Council administrations systematically intervened in Earth's development for 487 standard cycles. These interventions exceeded observation protocols and violated the non-interference directive 17 times. Stunned silence filled the chamber. Furthermore, continued Ixora, I have uncovered evidence that these interventions were motivated not by security concerns, but by economic interest from certain Council species who feared human competition in interstellar markets. Voxal's form darkened with shame. The implications are clear. Our position in any conflict would be compromised by these historical truths. We cannot simply capitulate, Zorax thundered. The humans must be shown their place. Whatever we did in the past, their current actions threaten the very foundation of galactic order. A subtle tone sounded, and a communication officer approached Voxal with evident alarm. After a brief consultation, Voxal addressed the chamber. We have just received intelligence that Earth has activated something called Project Prometheus. Long-range sensors detect massive energy signatures throughout their solar system. Holographic displays shifted to show Earth's star system, where dozens of previously undetected installations were powering up, generating energy readings that caused the monitoring systems to glitch. What are they building? Whispered Admiral Thrix. Not building, corrected Voxal. Revealing. These installations appear to have been in place for some time. General Krell studied the readings, his military mind calculating possibilities. If these are weapons platforms, we have 18 hours before the Council must respond to their terms, interrupted Voxal. I suggest we use that time wisely. As the military commanders debated strategy, none noticed the small maintenance drone in the corner of the chamber, its sensors recording everything before quietly slipping away through a ventilation shaft. Back at the Earth Embassy, Ambassador Harlow, Admiral Reeves, and Lieutenant Miller watched the encrypted feed from their infiltration drone. The tension in the room was palpable as the Council's military leaders argued about how to respond to Earth's ultimatum. They're divided, noted Miller. Zorax wants immediate military action, but the evidence Sentinel Ixora presented is making others hesitate. As we expected, Harlow nodded. The Council's founding species have too much to lose if their history of manipulation becomes public knowledge. Reeves studied the tactical displays visible in the feed. They're mobilizing significant forces, the Arcturian Fourth Fleet, the Praetorian Guard, even the Medusan Dreadnought Division. If they decide on military action, we'll be facing the largest combined fleet in galactic history. Are our defenses ready? asked Harlow. Reeves nodded grimly. Project Prometheus is fully operational. The dimensional resonance network is stabilized across all 9 anchor points. If they attack, they'll find Earth far better protected than they believe possible. Miller's console chimed softly. Admiral, we've detected unusual energy readings near Jupiter's orbit. A Council stealth vessel is attempting to scan our Prometheus installations. Let them look, Reeves decided after a moment. But maintain the dampening field around the primary control hub. Let them see our defensive capabilities, but not the true purpose of the network. Harlow looked troubled. We're balanced on a knife edge, Admiral. One misstep from either side could trigger a conflict that would devastate half the galaxy. Which is why we need to be absolutely certain our failsafe is ready, Reeves replied. Director Patel, status report on the archive distribution system. A holographic image of Tech Director Patel appeared in the center of the room. Final calibrations complete, Admiral. The quantum resonance network can now transmit the archive data to all 47 affected worlds simultaneously. Transmission time estimated at 3.7 seconds. And our message to those worlds? Prepared and encoded. A full explanation of the Council's historical interference, with specific details relevant to each species. We've framed it as an invitation to a new interspecies alliance outside Council control, with Earth as the founding member. Reeves nodded with satisfaction. The Council believes we're bluffing, that we wouldn't risk galactic stability by revealing their secrets. They don't understand that from our perspective, the current stability is built on lies and manipulation. And if they call our bluff? Asked Miller. Then we follow through, Reeves replied simply. The Council's days of unchallenged authority are over. One way or another. Across the galaxy on the Council throne world, Supreme Arbiter Vauxhall met privately with the Elder Council, 9 beings representing the oldest civilizations in known space. These were not the political representatives who sat in the Grand Chamber, but the true power behind the Council, species so ancient they had guided galactic development for millennia. The situation is unprecedented, Vauxhall explained, its form shifting through colors of uncertainty. The humans have leveraged their discovery of our historical actions into a position where they can effectively challenge Council authority. Elder Mithral of the Eternity Consciousness, a being of pure energy contained within an ancient mechanical shell, spoke in a voice like distant wind. In all our cycles of existence, no emerging species has ever accessed the Omega-7 archives. The protocols designed to prevent this were believed infallible. Believed but not proven, noted Elder Kronos of the Temperus, his multifaceted eyes reflecting light in hypnotic patterns. The humans have demonstrated technology we did not anticipate. Their dimensional phasing abilities allowed them to bypass security measures designed to stop conventional approaches. The question before us, Vauxhall continued, is how to respond to their ultimatum. They demand acknowledgement of our interference, reparations, and a fundamental restructuring of Council authority over developing worlds. Unacceptable, declared Elder Zorn of the Silicon Collective. The Council system has maintained galactic stability for 10,000 years. One upstart species cannot be allowed to dismantle it. Yet, countered Elder Lyra, her feathered form almost luminous in the chamber's soft light. The humans have positioned themselves where direct conflict would be costly. Their defensive capabilities are formidable, and their threat to distribute the archives to all affected species would create chaos throughout Council space. There is another factor to consider, added Vauxhall. Sentinel. Exor's investigation has confirmed that many of our interventions on Earth and other worlds exceeded our mandate. Some were conducted for economic advantage rather than security concerns. This places us on uncertain ethical ground. Elder Kronos leaned forward. Perhaps we should consider a third path. Neither capitulation nor confrontation, but adaptation. The other elders turned to him with interest. The Great Hall of Reconciliation had never been used in living memory. Built when the Galactic Council was founded millennia ago, its circular chamber was designed for meetings of absolute equals, with no raised platforms or hierarchical seating. Today, its ancient systems hummed back to life as delegations from Earth and the Council, gathered under its perfect acoustics and natural lighting from the 7 sons of the Council system. Ambassador Harlow led the human delegation of 7 representatives. Military, scientific, and diplomatic specialists. Across the circular table sat Supreme Arbiter Vauxhall, Security Director Zorax, and 5 senior council members representing the major galactic sectors. Between them floated Sentinel Ixora, serving as neutral witness to the proceedings, her ethereal form casting subtle patterns of light across the ancient stone floor. "This gathering represents an unprecedented moment in council history," began Ixora, her ethereal voice resonating through the chamber. "For the first time in 12,000 cycles, the fundamental structure of galactic governance will be reconsidered." Voxel spoke next, its form a calm, steady blue. "The Council acknowledges the historical wrongs committed against Earth. We formally apologize for past interventions and recognize humanity's right to demand a new relationship." Harlow nodded solemnly. "Earth accepts this apology as the beginning of a new chapter. As a demonstration of good faith, we have deactivated the fail-safe measures deployed throughout Council space." Zorax's stone face remained impassive. "And Project Prometheus, our sensors continue to detect massive energy signatures throughout your system." Dr. James Rivera, Earth's chief scientific officer, smiled slightly. "A calculated revelation. Those installations are not weapons, Director Zorax. They're components of a dimensional resonance network, the foundation for a new form of faster-than-light travel that doesn't require traditional hyperspace corridors." Gasps and murmurs spread among the council representatives. "Impossible," stated the Arcturian scientist, her tendrils writhing in agitation. "Such technology would violate fundamental laws as you understand them," corrected Rivera. "Humanity's unique development path led us to different conclusions about quantum mechanics. We revealed these installations to demonstrate that conflict would be mutually destructive, yes, but also to show what cooperation might achieve." Admiral Reeves, sitting beside Harlow, leaned forward. "Earth could have chosen complete independence. Instead, we propose a restructured relationship that benefits all species." From her diplomatic pouch, she extracted a small crystal and placed it on the table. It projected a complex organizational structure, a fundamentally redesigned council system. "Our proposal," explained Harlow. "A new galactic consortium where founding species and emerging civilizations participate as equals, where technological and cultural exchange flows freely, rather than being controlled from above." Voxel studied the projection carefully, multiple eyes shifting position to examine different aspects of the design. "This would require dismantling power structures thousands of years old." "Yes," agreed Harlow simply. "The alternative is a fragmented galaxy where humanity and other emerging species form rival power blocks. Is that preferable?" Security Director Zorax rumbled deeply. "This proposal would significantly reduce Council authority over developing worlds. How can we ensure galactic stability without proper oversight?" "You're still thinking in the old paradigm, Director," Reeves replied. "Control is not the only path to stability. The archive data we accessed showed that worlds allowed to develop naturally, without Council interference, typically advanced more rapidly, but with fewer destructive technologies than those under Council guidance." "Interesting if true," noted the Lyran representative. "But a limited sample." "Then perhaps it's time for a larger experiment," suggested Rivera. "The dimensional resonance network we've developed could be adapted to create a galactic communication grid that would allow instant sharing of knowledge and innovation. Cooperation through connection rather than control through restriction." Sentinel Ixora drifted closer to the projection. "In my long existence, I have witnessed the rise and fall of many civilizations. The most resilient were not those who accumulated the most power, but those who adapted most effectively to change." She turned to address both delegations. "Humanity's refusal to negotiate under the old terms has forced this moment of transformation. The question now is whether we possess the wisdom to embrace it." The council representatives conferred among themselves in low voices. The tension in the chamber was palpable as the fate of galactic governance hung in the balance. Finally, Voxel's form shifted through several colors before settling on a deep purple of determination. "I will present this proposal to the full council and the Elder Conclave with my recommendation for adoption." "And the classified records of council interference?" asked Reeves sharply. "Will be made public," promised Voxel. "All of them. If we are to build a new relationship based on trust, we must begin with complete transparency. As the formal meeting concluded, the delegations broke into smaller groups to discuss specific aspects of the transition. In one corner, Rivera demonstrated the principles behind the dimensional resonance technology to fascinated council scientists. In another, military representatives cautiously discussed security protocols for the proposed new order. Harlow found himself standing with Vauxhall near the ancient window overlooking the council capital. "Your species took an enormous risk," said Vauxhall quietly. "Had we chosen conflict, we calculated the risk worth taking," Harlow replied. "Humanity has never advanced by accepting limitations imposed by others. A trait we should perhaps have recognized earlier," Vauxhall acknowledged. "The question that troubles many council members is whether other developing species will follow your example once our history of intervention becomes known." "Almost certainly," Harlow nodded. "But that's precisely why your embrace of this new framework is so important. By accepting change willingly rather than having it forced upon you, the Council maintains its relevance and authority, even as that authority evolves. A political assessment worthy of a species far older than yours," noted Vauxhall with something like respect. "We've had good teachers," Harlow replied with a hint of irony. "Your observation posts recorded our entire history, the rise and fall of empires, revolutions, reformations. We've learned that systems that cannot adapt eventually break. We hope to help the Council adapt rather than break." Across the chamber, Security Director Zorax engaged in intense conversation with Admiral Reeves. "Your fail-safe measures," he rumbled. "You claim to have deactivated them, but we've detected nothing. No power signatures, no dimensional shifts. How do we verify your claim?" Reeves smiled slightly. "You can't, Director. That's rather the point of advanced dimensional phase technology. But I give you my word as an officer of Earth defense that the measures have been deactivated as promised." "Your word?" Zorax repeated skeptically. "Yes," Reeves replied calmly. "Just as we must take the Council's word that it will honor this new agreement. Trust must begin somewhere, Director." Zorax studied her for a long moment. "The Council military command will insist on verification protocols in the final agreement, and Earth will accept reasonable measures," Reeves nodded. "But true security comes from mutual interest, not mutual suspicion. The technologies our worlds can develop together far exceed what either could create alone. That potential is the strongest guarantee of cooperation." Meanwhile, Dr. Rivera found himself surrounded by council scientists, their initial skepticism giving way to excitement as he explained the principles of dimensional resonance. "The implications are staggering," breathed the Arcturian scientist. "If this technology works as you describe, it would revolutionize not just transportation but energy production, communication, perhaps even planetary defense." "Exactly," Rivera nodded. "And these are just the applications we've identified. With multiple species contributing their perspectives, who knows what might be possible?" "Why share this with us?" asked a silicon-based scientist, his crystalline form refracting light in complex patterns. "Your people could have maintained this technological advantage." "To what end?" Rivera countered. "Temporary superiority at the cost of ongoing conflict? We believe the combined scientific knowledge of the galaxy will advance all our civilizations faster than any single species working alone, even one as adaptable as humanity." As the discussions continued throughout the day, news of the historic meeting spread across the galaxy. On thousands of worlds, beings of all forms watched and waited to learn what this unprecedented gathering might mean for the future. In the HFY Military Command Center orbiting Helios 9, General Krell monitored the proceedings with growing concern. "They're actually considering this restructuring," he muttered to Admiral Thrix. "Thousands of years of council tradition abandoned because one species discovered our secrets." "Perhaps it was inevitable," Thrix replied thoughtfully. "The council system was designed for a smaller galaxy, when interstellar travel was new and developing species needed guidance. The universe has changed." "And our place in it?" demanded Krell. "Will change as well," Thrix acknowledged. "But perhaps for the better. I've reviewed the human proposal in